MyLeadSystemPRO. This is Roxana Hanna with some very exciting news. It's our Member of the Month time again, and the exciting news is that we have Mary and Dean Black. And it's exciting for us because they've been with us for a long time, but more than the amount of time, maybe a year and a half, I don't know. It's the amount of giving that they have been. Well, they're givers, you know, and if you're in MLSP, you know them because they're very present. So after all this time, they're members of the month, not because they didn't deserve it a long time ago, but, you know, we really said, you know, let's start off the year right. 2013, January, members of the month, Mary and Dean Black. Thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome, Roxanne. By the way, I'm Mary and that's Dean.
I'm Dean.
You know, because I'm the better looking one.
That's right.
Thank you, Rod.
Okay, so Mary and Dean open and host our morning motivational calls, Monday through Friday. They are always there. They also host our Monday new user orientation webinars. And they are also a very important part of our Master Marketers team, which is one of our two executive teams here in MLSP. So, you know, they're very active. Everybody knows them. And we invited them into the MMT earlier than the specs of who is allowed to come into MMT. And that just goes to show you how far, you know, being such a giver and helping your community and taking care of others, what that will do for you. So, I mean, they were doing so much for us. I'm going to stop talking here soon, but I just have so much to say.
Go on.
I have so much to say. I mean, usually I have to read through people's bios on our blog, but I was like, I know, you know, you guys are incredible. But we invited them into our Master Marketers team before they'd even hit certain ranks, just because of their commitment and dedication and generosity. So enough from me. Tell everyone, you know, your story and, you know, of coming into the industry, of coming together, and how Live the Dream 2 was for you, and where you are today. So, you know, let people understand kind of what it takes to make it inside of MLSP.
And we had, what, 15 minutes? No, I'm sorry. Mary, you start, because you know what? No, I'm only kidding. We have a great time. I'm just going to tell you, Mary and I have fun all the time. You know, we just have a blast. But I'll just start really quick. You want me to say?
I want you to tell them how you introduced me to network marketing.
Okay, I'm going to start. I'll start there, because I had been in network marketing for a couple years before that, or you know, a little bit before that, not too long. I kind of just started. She's going to go like this because I've talked for like an hour. We do those calls every day, man. That's why we do them, because we can just talk. But I actually asked Mary. We knew each other because our kids, we were both divorced, and our kids went to the same school. So we were both single parents, and I was in a network marketing company, but we both had businesses outside of network marketing. She wasn't in network marketing, but we had our own businesses already. So I was, of course, told, you know, go talk to business owners because they understand network marketing better than, you know, somebody who's in a job. So I said, well, I'll go talk to Mary. So I met her. I didn't really meet her. I mean, we'd already kind of knew each other just from our kids. So one day I went up to her and I asked her to take a look at my company. Of course, I had no idea what I was doing, you know, because I wasn't. I was spamming my company to her, but I really was. And I said, you know, would you take a look at this? And of course, you know, Mary's like, oh yeah, you know, here, let me look at it and this, and then I'm gonna let you tell, because then okay. What did we do? Go ahead.
I was like, you know what? I don't get this. You know, let's talk about it. But I was a single mom, so, you know, making extra money around what you're doing right now, you know, from home with your kid. I mean, these are all things that just rang in my ears. I was like, yeah, let's get together and talk about this. So we arranged to meet for dinner at a restaurant. Dean tried to talk about the opportunities.
I did.
15 minutes. He really honestly did try.
I did.
And then he finally just kind of gave up, and we spent 3 hours, you know, over dinner getting to know each other, and sort of the rest is history, I guess you could say. And one of my favorite things is, you know what, I said no to a business opportunity, but I said yes to his marriage proposal, and I think that was the plan.
It was. It really was. I'm so glad you didn't join. I'm so glad you didn't join, because I'd be like, yeah!
Yeah, you should live a down line.
Well, the good thing about the industry, unlike corporate environment, is you can marry your downline.
There you go.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
I think
actually
so.
come from a
I mean,
corporate background, and one of the things that made me so excited about getting into the master marketers, I don't know if this is how everybody thinks of it or not, but I'm like, this is maybe another chance for me to exercise some of those, corporate strategic planning, marketing.
Here's what you're really good
Big
at.
picture stuff is what I've always really been good at. Details kind of elude me to this day, but I was really excited about the idea of being able to contribute something to an entire organization and a community that is my skill set and inside my comfort zone, and that was really cool. That has been really cool for us to be able to do, and I think it's just amazing. That we can come along and do because we already have such a good time
and really,
at it, and be able to do that is just what a life. What else can you do that?
Fantastic. We love it. And, of course, and so many of the stories that we hear about people before they join MyLeadSystemPRO, like, we struggled, we didn't know what we were doing. It's the same thing. You read these all the time. You read the bios of people, the members of the month, and everything. They're pretty much all the same. Generally speaking, just kind of struggled, didn't know what I was doing. It finally came online, stumbled across MyLeadSystemPRO, and we watched the presentation. I actually brought Mary in to watch the presentation, and at that time it was 45 minutes. And it was still good. Ryan, because he's awesome.
What did we see at the end?
And we turned to each other at the end and said, this is
That's
just
exactly
what we're looking
for.
Right? And so we just dug in, and we got into it and dug into it and started getting on the calls and just immersed ourselves in the community, and everything that we have from then until now, up until now, is because of that. Either people we've met through the community or the people in the community or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to say that MLSP is so much more than a tool and a system and a training platform. That stuff is phenomenal. But for us especially, these are people. I mean, like, these people think like we do. Nobody here has ever said, you're nuts, go get a job so you can take care of your baby. You're a single mom. Nobody's ever said that since I came in this community, but that's all I got before, I found my way to MyLeadSystemPRO was go get a job, because it's irresponsible to try to be an entrepreneur and a business owner in your situation. I'll tell you, I'm so glad that I ignored all those people.
Trust your instincts. That's what I would say.
Yeah, there's a lot to the community. I'm still building business relationships from people that I met 3-4 years ago by going to MLSP-related events, whether we went as a corporate team to, meet people, but it's still benefiting me to this day.
We really do embrace and accept the fact that attraction marketing is what works. And sometimes that can take a little bit of time, but you said you're building those relationships all the time, and you don't know when those are going to come to fruition. And I'll give you an example. Someone recently came and joined us in what we're doing, and so I've been following you guys for a year. And people come and go and this and that and all this stuff's going on, but you guys are just right there all along, and that's kind of our big message. We really are the everyday entrepreneurs, the family next door, right? We live next door to you. I mean, that's who we are, and people like that, and people see, what they're there. We're not going anywhere. And we've been here for half of the MLSP life. Yeah, we're not going anywhere, and people are comfortable with that. And over time, that's what they really, really want to see and really want to know. Although we may not be the slickest or the flashiest out there, I guarantee you we are the most solid and the most consistent.
Yeah, exactly. So for a newbie, besides obviously attending the New Year's orientation that you guys host, what should a newbie do?
I absolutely love the 10 daily steps to firing your ball. I cannot tell you. I teach it. Anybody who comes back and asks me, I'm stuck. I'm like, do you do the 10 daily steps? And they almost always say no. And I'm like, why not? If you're stuck, if you're struggling, and I mean, some people watching this aren't inside MLSP, but it's a document that basically is a checklist of the 10 things that you need to do every day in your business in order to, to keep it moving forward. And again, a big part of it is building that consistency of doing this fundamental activities over and over again, because even if you've been doing this for a while, if you get stuck, I promise it's because you missed something in the fundamentals and the basics. It's not your lead generation strategy doesn't work. It's not Facebook hates you and doesn't want to improve your ad. It's none of those things because you missed something in the very fundamentals. I'm a very big believer for new people and say, you know what, trust in this process for the 30 days in particular to go through those daily steps. And the other thing that's super big is stay plugged in. Nobody, and Roxy, you can attest to this, nobody does this alone. It is by nature a community. It's an interactive experience, and you have to plug in to other people that can sort of help you, lead you, inspire you, motivate you, whatever it is you need along the way. So critical. And that's not just when you're brand new. I find that when I get a little disconnected, then I get all off my kilter too, and we're crazy consistent, right? It really, personal development and that connection, that stuff never ends.
That was really one of the things that I got in when we first joined the system. When I found the wake-up calls, I'm like, you know what, this is what I need to do. Because I knew that I needed to stay plugged in because I was out working my other job all during the day, but I had the freedom, because I worked for myself, to be able to get on the calls every single day. So I did them every day, and and even now, even if we weren't hosting the calls, I'd probably hop on them every day.
Talk about the morning calls a little bit. Share. I mean, if anybody knows the morning call, it's you two. What? 100%.
It's very funny how Dean got started doing that. I'm gonna let you tell that story because I really do think that some things are just so right for you that you sort of fall into them without like maybe a specific grand plan to do so. But you should tell them.
Yeah, and there really wasn't. Like I just said. When I started, I'm like, okay, I need to stay plugged in because I need to get connected with the community, or to teach me the stuff that I don't know. So I go, okay, the calls every single day, so I'm going to get on the calls. So I would get on the calls every single day. And used to have a host and then an intro taker and then a host. And occasionally, because we all get busy, entrepreneurs, it's like herding cats and everything. But so we get busy. Well, maybe the host wouldn't come on, so I was like, okay, well, there's nobody. So I kind of figured it out about 5 till they would come on and start doing intros. If nobody's there by about 5, 7, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just say I just started to do it because I'm like, well, nobody else is doing it, so I'll just do it. And then the host would come on or the speaker would come on, and it just kind of evolved like that. And one day, because actually one day, the host didn't show up. Nobody showed up, okay? So I was on there, and I did some intros, so I was like, okay, we're waiting for the host. And then somebody just said, well, Dean, why don't you just tell us something? So I was like, okay, well, I'll just start talking. So I did. I just started talking. I talked for about 15 minutes or so, or 20 minutes or something. And I just kind of, and everybody said, it's okay, I guess. And so that's how it kind of started. It just happened like that.
It got to the point to where when someone wasn't there, everyone would just be like, well, Dean, let's go. And then before long, like nobody would say anything. And Dean said, well, hey, welcome. And we just sort of, we saw a need and thought, we need to fill in, and we're not shy.
Because I figured everybody was sitting there, okay, they're waiting to a little bit of an intro stuff, just kind of directing and everything like that. But if nobody showed up on the call for that particular day, it would happen every once in a while, then everybody's on that call expecting something. I was like, all right, I'll step out there and talk.
Yeah, and then one day, because Dean used to say, I don't have any moderator controls, so I can't do anything.
I would.
And we kind of talk over the noise. It's kind of funny when I think about it.
It is now because
easier now.
Because I would come on and I would be like, okay, it's 11 o'clock. Now, if the host is on the call, you know what? You can take it. It's all yours. I have no controls. I'm just letting you know it's all yours. And somebody would come on sometimes and be like, okay, let me push the buttons and all this.
Maybe.
But it was fun. You know what? And everybody was cool with it. Nobody was like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. It should be done. I'm like, this is just the way it is. And a bunch of entrepreneurs together, and we're getting it done, right?
Yeah, listen, we're all here, all doing different things, and when there's a need for something, you just step in and help it move forward. And we knew how to do that professionally appropriately because obviously we've done this sort of thing before, and it just kind of seemed, I guess, like the natural thing to for you guys to come to us and say, would you just start taking the intros on the call? Like, yeah, we're there anyway.
Which actually was a huge honor. It was like, wow, they really want us to do this officially. I'm like, cool, that's great.
It's great to be able to give back and forth to one another. And this is what I like about this community and this profession and being an entrepreneur in general, as opposed to, like my corporate life, and everything is political.
Right.
And I'm not that diplomatic. I'm more likely to just tell you what's on my mind before I can suck it back in because I stop to think, what am I saying? And, I don't have to worry about that, because even if I'm wrong and someone disagrees, it's the collective mind, right, that's coming together and comes out with something so much more brilliant and amazing than you could if there was a lot of ego getting in the way. And that's why we keep moving so forward, MLSP, why we keep moving forward so quickly as a community and as a company, because that's what it's all about. It evolves very, very quickly that way, instead of getting hung up in the bureaucratic politicizing and stuff. And it's, man, this is like a dream for us.
These are our people.
Yeah, and our people.
So it's fascinating, sort of the combination of being present and giving to the community, but also receiving a lot from it, put you into this position, and now your business is growing. Tell us what's happening now for you.
Well, what's interesting, you mentioned earlier talking about Live the Dream, we didn't mention that, but at this last Live the Dream 3, I mean, I knew that people maybe kind of knew who we were. I thought, oh, yeah, we went on the morning wake-up call and all of this, but we walked into that hotel room, or that conference center, and people, I didn't know who they were coming up everywhere. They were hugging us. They were telling us, you guys are so amazing. I can't tell you how much I get out of this, and how much I learned from that, and how much I appreciate what you do. And Roxanne, they kept coming all weekend, and I'm a little bit on the shy side when it comes to that sometimes. I'm getting over it. I'm working on it. But I got to say, I was floored. I had no idea that many people were being impacted by what we're doing. That really brought it home for me, because now I'm like, it's a huge responsibility almost. I'm like, I love to serve people, and so many people coming back and saying, I love what you're doing, do more. I think maybe sometimes I'm pushing it a little too far. When I do, someone will tell me I'll pull back. But for the most part, people are like, give us more, tell us like it is. 'Cause, I mean, I guess I'm that nice kind of unintimidating person who can maybe put out a little tough love, and it's meant out of love and concern. And like I said, it's attraction marketing, right? It genuinely is giving to help, and it does just come back to you. And I really believe that, and I think people know that. And so I was just like, we snapped photographs and did interviews and videos till 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm not a night person either. And I walked away and I was like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
How incredible is that? And we're just regular people.
It was very humbling that we could touch that many people. And when you're behind the microphone or behind the webinar or something like that, sometimes you don't know how many people that really touches. And everybody who listens to the recordings, get people coming up to us saying, man, I religiously listen to the recordings because I can't get on the live calls. And you don't really see that until you go to an event like Live the Dream, and you see the people in person, and it's really cool. It's really cool.
We went from that at Live the Dream 3 to the year before at Live the Dream 2 in Orlando. I sold my jewelry,
right?
Bought the IRS to get some money they owed me, which was one of the scariest things I've ever done, and took my kids. And there's photographs up there still of me holding the baby in the back row, because that was the only way I could get there. And I popped in and out when I could, and Dean did a lot more than I did. But, I mean, we started walking in there. I didn't know anybody. Nobody knew. I was Dean from Atlanta's Life. I'm telling you, I wish I almost wrote that on my name tag. I went from being Dean from Atlanta's Life to, Dean and Mary, the big spotlight in our face that Live the Dream 3 talking on stage. I mean, that's almost surreal to me.
Yeah.
That's quite a ways to go in a year.
Wow, that's incredible. So if people would like to get more of Mary and Dean, Mr. and Mrs. Black, you told me you liked it when I called you Mrs. Black.
Oh, how cool is that?
We're newlyweds.
How can they find you guys? What's your blog, and how can they reach you guys outside of the morning calls and the new user orientation?
Well, our blog is deanrblack.com, DEANRBlack, BLACK.com. Facebook is Facebook/DeanRBlack. And
Mary Black, thank you.
Mary Black.
I have my own Facebook now.
Oh, yeah, that is true, Mary Black. Facebook/Mary Black or Facebook/Dean Black, Dean R. Black.
She has Mary and Dean Unleashed.
Yeah, Mary and Dean Unleashed.
Oh, Mary and Dean, okay.
YouTube over there on YouTube is Dean R. Black.
Come find us. We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. Yeah,
Just click on something, we'll find it.
Google,
us. We like to talk
Google
to people.
Dean R. Black.
Yeah, we're those people who like to talk to people. story.
We do. We love to talk to people.
Well, any last...
But I'll warn you, we do not take our business too seriously.
which is healthy. Very healthy for you guys.
That's true.
Well, we love having you with us, and I know the community adores you. And besides all the good feelings, I mean, you guys know what's going on. You're part of the back office. You're part of our marketers team, and you really know how MLSP works. And so we genuinely thank you, and we're very grateful to your time that you share with us. So congratulations on January 2013, Member of the Month.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.